Hello, Tar Heel Nation. Welcome back to another episode of UNC Hoops Talk. I'm your host, Dan DeWitt, and I'm glad you are listening. Glad you support the podcast. A little disclaimer here before we go. This podcast almost did not happen. I started recording yesterday, got interrupted with not family emergencies, but family issue stuff that had to be taken care of. And so I did not think it was going to happen. Didn't want to go the week without too many games I'd miss talking about, and just too much time. Didn't want to just leave it out there, so I threw it together here last minute. I got the dishwasher running in the background. I got kids running around, even my son sitting right here. If you notice, if you're watching on the video, not in my usual recording spot. Like I said, just kind of throwing it together. Hopefully he sits here quietly because he wanted to come sit by me once I started recording. Doing good so far, we'll see, but I apologize if the audio is not as good or if you hear some stuff in the background, but hopefully you'll work with me on that. And next week I'm going to be back with a special guest, somebody that has written a book about how much Duke sucks. So that'll be fun. That'll be good. That'll be a good preview into the rematch with Duke coming up. So I hope you'll subscribe, tell everybody that you know that is a Carolina fan about it, and we can all unite Tar Heel Nation. That's my goal here. But that's my disclaimer here to start the video. Let's jump in here. I'm going to try to make this kind of quick because it is thrown together at the end. We had the NC State game. We ended up winning 97-73. This is Theo and Isaiah's game back after missing some. Theo with his ankle and Isaiah with his hamstring. This is also the game where Kenny Williams, missed, and then afterwards we found out is going to miss the rest of the season with his knee injury. So not a great there. This is also the game which got Mark Gottfried fired. Look at it as you were. I don't really care that he was the coach there because obviously Roy owned NC State and owned Gottfried. So in that sense, kind of sad to see him go. We'll see who they can come up with and what kind of replacement they can get. But all that kind of happened after this game or during this game. We got off to a pretty quick start in this game, and then we let Dennis Smith get going, get hot. He scored 17 first half points. They got it within 6. Kind of mid or a little after midway through the first half. We pulled away a little bit before halftime. I think it was a 14-point lead at halftime. And then the second half, we pulled away and pretty easy win. Like I said, 97-73. Never really in jeopardy. Isaiah coming back. I don't know if he thought he had 10 fouls because he had missed a game there or what, but only ended up playing 7 minutes because he never did foul out 4 fouls, but only 7 minutes, gave us 7 points. Only starter that wasn't in double figures. But Luke May made up for that off the bench, played 23 minutes, 13 points, 7 rebounds, 4 of them offensive. So great game from Luke here, and really stepped up and done well. Surprised a lot of people this year, but also just solid play from Luke May, really in both these games. We were led by Joel Berry, 18 points, 6 assists to 1 turnover, followed by Kennedy Meeks, 17 points. 8 rebounds, and then Justin Jackson, a little bit of an off game for him because he's been averaging and playing so well, but 14 points for Justin and then 12 for Theo. Very active and good game for Theo to come back in. Tony Bradley added 8 points, 5 rebounds, maybe even more importantly, 4 for 4 from the free throw line. And Seventh Woods, even though his stats aren't great, has been showing that he's more comfortable out on the court and playing a lot better in that sense. So yeah, really a good game for a lot of people. Pretty balanced scoring there. And yeah, like I said, I'll try to make this quick, but yeah, and then the next day Gottfried gets fired. He will coach the rest of the season. Kind of strange there, see how he can motivate those guys. And I've heard it a couple of places, but I kind of agree. If we don't win the ACC tournament, it would be pretty funny to watch NC State win the ACC tournament so that they get an automatic bid, because they're not going to make the NCAA tournament if they don't win the ACC tournament. So obviously I want Carolina to win the ACC tournament, but if we don't, it would be pretty funny to watch NC State make a little run there and make the tournament. And, you know, it's whatever. Obviously not necessarily cheering for a rival, but yeah, to have a fired coach go on a run like that and make the tournament would be pretty funny. It would be the state thing to do, I think. So we'll see what happens there. And we played Virginia on Sunday, I believe it was. And 65-41, we know it's going to be low scoring when we play Virginia, but great game for us, really. We started off again very well in this one. Kind of took it to our. They had a small. We got their big guy really, but they have a smaller lineup anyway. But he got in foul trouble right away. 2 quick ones, had to go out. He came back in later in the half, maybe halfway through the first half, and got his third really quick. So they had to go even smaller. And our big guys didn't have phenomenal stats, but they were really active. Not necessarily on the offensive board. We ended up with 10 offensive boards, but I guess, again, fewer possessions are going to lead to that. They just don't have the firepower that they had last year. They don't have playmakers and stuff. And they're always going to play close games with just about anybody because they play a slowed down pace, and you're just not going to blow people out that way. But we got going from 3. Justin Jackson, 18 points in the first half. He ended up only with 20, so not as active in the second half for whatever reason, but 4 for 8 from the 3-point line. Like I said, 20 points, 6 assists for Justin, 4 rebounds. Obviously led the way for us. Kennedy was next with 13.7 rebounds. Isaiah, 10 points, 8 rebounds. And then Theo Pinson had 9 points. Joel Berry struggled, 5 points, 2 for 9 shooting, just 1 for 5 from 3-point line. And then on top of that, didn't get to the free throw line as well. And I think I've mentioned on the podcast too that it's kind of something to watch when he doesn't get to the free throw line. He's got to be more aggressive. I know early in this game there was a couple of layups he missed them, didn't get foul called, probably when he should have. And I don't know if that's what caused it, but we just can't have that. He's got to stay aggressive. Quite a few guys played double-digit minutes in this one, and really in the first half there was a big stretch. There was Seventh Woods and Brandon Robinson playing some extended minutes there, and I think it was because Roy didn't want our guys getting tired playing defense so long against Virginia, trying to buy that. And Virginia guys did look tired in the second half for sure, but we just kind of kept pulling away. Just kept waiting for that Virginia run, and not having an offensive one, but where they would just hold us scoreless for a long stretch. But there's actually their offense went scoreless for like over 8 minutes in the second half, and yeah, we just kept pulling away. Ended up winning by 24 points, held them to 41 points, which is the fewest points by a Roy Williams coach North Carolina team. And Roy still wasn't impressed with the defense. He thought it was more about them not making open shots than about our defense forcing them to miss shots, stuff like that. But yeah, good win to get us atop, or to stay atop and by ourselves on top of the ACC. So and that's where we can go next. I'll make sure I don't want to say anything else about this game. Yeah, I think I pretty much hit it, especially if I'm trying to keep this abbreviated. So ACC standings, like I said, we're at top by ourselves, 11-3 in the conference. Only 1 game ahead of Duke and Louisville, though. They're both at 10-4. Obviously, we've got that big game with Louisville tonight as I'm recording this on Wednesday. Hopefully, some of you at least will get to hear it before that game. Many of you may not, but we'll talk a little bit about that here in a minute. Florida State and Notre Dame then follow up at 10-5. Miami is 9-6. Virginia Tech, Virginia, and Syracuse all at 8-7, which rounds out the teams above 500. Georgia Tech is 7-8. Wake Forest 6-9. Pittsburgh is 4-10. Clemson 4-11. North Carolina State is 4-12, and then Boston College finishes it off at 2-13. But yeah, we're down to the home stretch of the ACC season, the regular season, all of it. We got Louisville coming up. We got Pittsburgh on Saturday. We got Virginia then following that up quickly again on Monday. And then we got that rematch with Duke, and then we're into the ACC tournament. So, yeah, it's coming, guys. It's here. We got to enjoy it because we only got a little bit of college basketball left again of this season. And this can be a special one, as we've said many times here on the podcast, for the Tar Heels. So we got to make sure we're taking care of business. And also as fans, we got to make sure we're enjoying it. So, yeah, we're on top, like I said, of the ACC by ourselves. But we got a lot of work to do if we want to stay there. I've said that last couple weeks. But, like I said, we got Louisville coming up on Wednesday tonight as I record this. Again, hopefully some of you will get to hear it before then. I'm hoping to get it up here quickly. But we play 9 p.m. Eastern tip tonight in Chapel Hill, at least, against Louisville. It's on ESPN. Big game. I think they're ranked like 7 and we're 8, or it's 8 and 9, depending what poll you look at. But 2 top 10 teams going at it. I'm glad that we got it at home. They are playing really well. I think they're still missing a couple guys. I know earlier in the season they were missing a couple of guys. I think Snyder, who is out with an injury, is back, but I feel like they had a couple of guys suspended or something. I don't know. Maybe they have them back. But anyway, we got to take care of business. They will get out and run a little bit with us. They're going to press us and try to pressure us quite a bit. Hopefully we handle that well. And they got length inside, but not bulk. So hopefully we can bully them around a little bit inside. And obviously, hopefully Justin keeps it going from the outside. This is a big game. Obviously, we would be 2 games ahead of Louisville then if we beat them. Duke has a big game at Syracuse. I believe it's at Syracuse tonight, which they should still win. But you never know when it's at someone else's place, especially in the ACC. So we got that coming up. We'll see what happens. And then we have Pittsburgh on Saturday, and I've said it enough times, but it's a noon tip on the road. Not even on ESPN. It says ACC Network, and we've seen Virginia Tech and Miami, Florida, how we perform with those early tips on the road in the ACC. So hopefully now we can take care of that or remedy that a little bit here with Pittsburgh. And then we have a quick turnover with Virginia next Monday. It's a 7 p.m. tip on ESPN. It's at Virginia. They're obviously going to want revenge. We can't just go with the fact that we beat them by 20 this time. And, we'll see what happens. Obviously, another big game with kind of a middle-of-the-pack ACC team right now, but obviously they're going to be wanting moving up that seed line and stuff. And if we want that 1 seed, both in the ACC tournament and the NCAA tournament, then it's a game we need to I don't want to say probably win, but if we can win 3 out of these 4, I feel confident that I would say we'd win the ACC for sure. We should have the 1 seed. If we beat 3 out of these last 4 games, I'm going to predict that we're the 1 seed for sure in the ACC tournament, and pretty confident that we'd be a 1 seed in the NCAA tournament as well. I don't want to make too many predictions because obviously I got to get this podcast up, and a lot of you may not even hear it before then anyway. But I don't know. Coming up on the podcast, like I said, we got Louisville, we got Pittsburgh, and then a quick turnaround with Virginia, which is kind of tough as well. And then the next podcast is going to be next Wednesday, March 1st. We'll be into March Madness by the time I podcast again. And like I previewed earlier, I got a special guest coming on. It'll be a lot of fun. Good preview for Duke. I don't know how much I'll review these 3 games, Louisville, Pittsburgh, Virginia, because we will be spending most of the time on Duke here and previewing that, and then obviously looking to the ACC tournament as well. But that should be a good one. Like I said before, make sure you're subscribed wherever you're listening to this so you don't miss it. But it will be next Wednesday. Hopefully I'll get it out in the afternoon on Wednesday, not early evening. So maybe you can listen to it on the way home from work, or wake up Thursday and listen to it and get ready for that Duke game. It will be Beat Duke week next week. So we got some work to do there, and then obviously into the ACC tournament. Nothing I can say right now, but something big coming for the ACC tournament for this channel, for the podcast, for I don't do much with the blog, but stuff will be going up on the blog. It'll be going up here on YouTube or in the podcast, wherever you're listening. And then also it would be awesome if you aren't already to connect with me on Twitter, and then hopefully be doing some periscopes and stuff like that. But as I can disclose more details, I will for sure. That's about all I can say right now. Big things coming. And I don't want to ramble on too much. I don't want to take your time as I'm trying to get this up quickly. I know I've said that enough times as well, but exciting times. We're ready to go. And that's all I got for you this week. Thanks for listening. Spread the word. Let's unite Tar Heel Nation. This is Dan DeWitt signing off. Go Heels.